So don't be alarmed, but I think the world is ending. The reason that I say that is because in the Game Changers North America right now, if you come to the agent stats and you go to Breeze and you scroll across, you will see an agent has a 50% number. And that agent is Yoru. That surely is the highest that it's ever been for Yoru in any map ever. So what the hell is going on? And is Yoru meta? So we're going to take a look here at a game between V1 and Wingman Patrol, where both teams were actually playing Yoru, and we're going to take a look at the first pistol round and see what V1 did.
On this one, so Cypher players have a field day. Let's see what we have. New Breeze. And mid's going to be the play. So mid control here. It's pretty much what you need all the time now. Change for the mid.
Ooh.
And Fluorescent hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, I think hardest thing for this map, too, is just the fact that V1 like to win out these fights, right? So
oh my god.
they have the aim. They knew that Breeze was that long shot distance type of map. So, yeah, they know they could win the fights.
Okay, so let's break this down. And what we've got here from V1 is quite a lot of stuff obviously going on. This is going to be a pretty fast round in general. So they're going to start with Omen Smoke in here, Cove in here. They're going to put a Cypher Cage across here, get the camera down here looking this way. And the only thing I can't really figure out of the stuff that they did earlier is I don't quite get what this gate crash is doing. I don't quite know when you would use this. I don't know if it's a missed one that is like meant to end up on the B side that they just missed, or if it's, you know, I just can't quite figure out exactly when you would use this. Maybe if you're in a big fight here and you're like the last one alive and have to get away, but you know, you don't want to use it at the start of the fight because then you're just baiting these guys. So I can't quite figure out the gate crash, but I'm sure they have a good reason for it, right? And this one other tiny nitpick I might have with this, right, is just as they're running through this cove, they are just going to sprint through it, right? Like no util, no nothing. We're just sprinting through our own cove. Which again, I would say like we do have a sky flash here, right, that we're not going to use until kind of much later in the round. Maybe it's a possibility that we could send, you know, a sky flash like up over this wall, you know, just to like end up there, right? That, you know, nice little high flash that, you know, will, again, if it doesn't go off, that's good for us because it tells us that, hey, no one's there and we can just keep running, right? But most of this I kind of like. That's the only like tiny nitpick I have, and from this point it's very, very good from V1, right? Because I like having the cove there, right? This is something they did in multiple rounds. Anytime they want to do this, they put the cove here so that they can't get spammed from behind. You actually have to come through this, right? All the way, which just, you know, makes it harder for the defenders in general. The opposing Yoru has actually TP'd across the B, so we are running into a three-man site. Fluorescent manages to get this first kill here, which I like. And then what I really like about this play is the timing of it all, right? The timing is really, really nice. After we get that first kill, we're flooding in. The dog is coming in from this way. So even if we didn't get that kill, right, we've got the dog creating pressure from this side as well. And now the timing of everyone just flooding together. And I think pistol round, you know, go together, stick together. We've got pressure coming from the other way. And, you know, as we see, they're going to absolutely destroy these guys. We're going to get a nice Omen flash coming in here as well towards this Cypher. Then we're going to throw this Yoru flash in here from Flow as well. Like just really good stuff in general. They kind of wrap around this Cypher, no chance, and you know, we get the spike down. So really, really good stuff on the exec overall as V1. And then as this round kind of plays out the rest of the way, and I'll get out of the way, you know, the flash there does see these guys kind of, you know, coming on this flank just here, and they're gonna manage to tidy it up
Incredibly quick play. Now have the ability to watch the extremities. Nice drop from Avery. And that trade from Fluorescent will pull another pistol round now in favor of V1.
Okay, now let's come to the second round, though, where things do not go so well for V1, and we'll just play it through first, and then I'll come back and talk about what went wrong for them.
Soon. Get him close, use the marshals, make it happen. This is so scary now. I think getting through the halls here in Breeze, it almost requires mid, unless this is where you're trying to pull utility out of your enemy and really figure out where they are. Otherwise, all eyes are on that entryway. You just get mowed down. Let's see if they can do it.
Oh, they've actually caught out. Story bun sitting close. What is going on, Floor?
Almost.
Missing the shot, but that would have been an insane 3K to take in. Luckily, WPT, they stay alive.
Great recovery.
Oh my goodness, that would have been so unfortunate. They still see Moya though. Able to get the one, so they open up the site just a bit more here. And it was Floor to scare this team back into a disciplined defense. Up to Soda to try to take this in. No flashes, no util, no nothing. Still something to be done. A 2K
Okay, so let's talk about what went wrong there in that round for them. And the idea is very simple, right? It's just going to be a straight 4-man exec on A with a Cypher lurk through mid, right? Really not reinventing the wheel there or anything, right? Plenty of teams have done that. And they come and take A main control, and they do that by sending out a Sky Flash here and sending this Omen one way up as well. And in response, we get the Viper Orb. Now, they are running into a stacked site. Obviously, we can see that. They can't see that, right? That's going to be a big point of like how this round actually ends up getting lost. They run into a stacked site. Unlucky, right? But there are some parts of this that I think they still, you know, I would say isn't ideal, right? So what's going to happen here is, you know, you've got Sarah up here on this box. This is actually going to be a nice kill she gets later from that position. You're going to get the fake Yoru clone going out, right? The dog comes out as well. It's going to see this Viper in that close corner. But the Viper, you know, the fake Yoru clone's going to go out. You actually get the Omen flash coming on this Viper as well. The problem is you've got the Viper Orb plus a Snake Bite, right? Which you're just tough. You know, it's not worth the risk of going through there, right? So already you've maybe got the potential here of thinking like, you know, we could just chill, wait for this. Again, you do have a big advantage, but this to me is like, it's not a bad idea, and the execution is maybe not even that bad either. They're going to send out a Yoru flash out here. They're going to send a Sky Flash out here as well, and they're going to Yoru TP behind it, right? You might say that, hey, that's pretty good, and you're going to see that all three of these players get blind, right? So you might say like, hey, you know, it worked, right? We got to this position, and these three guys are all blind. That's good. What do you mean? Well, there's a couple of things here that I think I would say isn't great. One is the gun choice. We've got a Guardian. And you don't want a Guardian for this, right? And I know that you're not expecting 3 players to be here, don't get me wrong, but in general, I would say 1, I don't think the Guardian's that good. The Bulldog is cheaper, and in my opinion, is better. And 2, for this kind of situation, I think, you know, obviously Guardian not ideal for this, and that does play out because it's going to be hard to hit multiple targets like that, right? Even Flow, very good player, tough. You know, Guardian, I would say don't buy it. Anyway, that's not the main point. The point really is, I don't think you should have a TP here, right? I think against this kind of eco, there's not necessarily the need to actually TP in, right? Because the gap between you and your team at that point is massive. You might go 1-for-1. Right? Like that might happen, even if, as we saw, the util all hits. And yeah, there's 3 people here. Unlucky you ran into a stacked site. But, you know, if you do die here for whatever reason, you're going to give them a gun. And that gun ends up getting multiple kills for your opponent. Right? So that is a big problem as well, that we're going miles away from our team so we can't be traded. And we're potentially going to give them a gun as well. And do you need to do this? Right? Is this like an absolute, we simply must TP like really deep into the site, right? Even if the util is really good, I would say that you don't really need to. And I would say probably second round when we're playing against, you know, Sheriffs and Classics, we never really need to TP, right? Just stick together, right? Just don't take any risks. Just play it super safe, right? And you like, because they're not going to have a ton of util, so they're not going to be able to stop you at this choke point for the entire round. Right? And they're not going to have the guns to spray you down, stopping you getting out of this choke point. So I don't even know if you even need to use a TP in this round, right? From Sarah, this is a really nice kill here. And, you know, now we're going to get our Cypher lurking up, and this is all fine. And this Cypher ends up in one of those situations where it's like you see multiple people and you don't know, you know, who to aim at. You actually do get a kill there from the Cypher with just, you know, the Ghost, which is fine, but Buddy B hits 2 insane shots there with the Guardian, manages to get 2 kills. We end up in a 2v1, and of course you would still say, hey, it's 2v1. But at this point in the round, it's already kind of a failure, right? Like, against ecos here, you don't want to only have 2 people left alive when 4 of you have bought guns, right? You want to keep everyone alive, ideally, right? So this is not great, and to be fair to Soto, this is just really good. Obviously, hitting those 2 shots, insane. But, you know, in my opinion, no, we should never really even want to be in that kind of position. Okay, next round, round number 7. Super cool idea coming in from V1 here. It's going to not go perfectly, and we'll talk about that, but this is going to be insanely cool.
So they're going to go ahead and play 3-2 across the map, but you see that and that gate crash that can come out from Bunny B.
Yeah, they've seen a lot and they've heard a lot as well. They know everybody's surrounding mid here too. V1 though, they've made some shots and moves. One shot missed is an opportunity taken away from WPT, but even then they've lost the op. Bunny B is gone. The main duelist, that main fragger, not able to help the team.
Okay, so let's talk about this round then, because this is kind of a crazy idea, but I love it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to send out an Omen Smoke. We're also going to send out a Cascade. I'm not sure if that's like a miscommunication. You know, I'm not quite sure if we need both, but obviously just to cross and try and do this kind of A-split thing coming in here. Now, the stream gets a bit jittery here, so you'll have to forgive me. You can see it going on there. So we send out the Sky Flash. We send in this Yoru Gate Crash in here as well. And then we send in this Harbor High Tide, right? So really, really cool idea of basically trying to just attack this way. Right, and then the idea is your Cypher is going to come into main, and you're basically going to, you know, eventually, I would assume, try and pinch onto anyone coming in onto the site here. So really, like, interesting way of attacking this. And then we're also going to get the Omen ult here in towards like the door as well. Really, really cool. So out comes the Skydog as well, and we're all kind of flooding in here, right? So there goes the Omen ult in here as well towards the door. Really cool idea. You got the Skydog coming up here, got your Yoru Gate Crash coming down here. The door is the Omen's gonna now flash across to the box. Your Yoru's gonna TP in back here. The problem is, as you can see, KO is right there. Right, the KO is right there and is going to find this kill, right? So this is going to be our first talking point of this round. Is up to this point, right? Everything they've done, really cool. Love the idea. Think it's super insane, super like creative. Love it. This obviously is a problem though, right? Like this KO got this kill, and we're going to talk about why I think that, you know, this is something that they might want to think about changing in a way, because where this KO starts, right? Where this KO starts is on the stairs. And so now let's talk about what someone on the stairs is always going to do in that situation. So this KO is starting by the stairs here, and it's going to just throw a KO knife at some point in this round towards a main, and it's not going to see anyone. And if you're this KO and your KO knife and main are seeing nothing, right, and you're hearing a lot of pressure, Skydog, right, you're hearing a lot of footsteps, all of that coming this way, your first instinct might be, okay, well, I can, you know, stay here and, you know, try and get a kill as they come out this way, right? That might be your first instinct. But then when you hear an Omen ult, like right by you over here, right? As soon as you hear that Omen ult, obviously you can't stay here anymore because the store could open at any point and you're just gonna die, right? So your reaction here is this KO. Really, you only have one option if you were up here, right? And that is to fall back this way, right? I can't think of anything else anyone would really do other than this and kind of, you know, wait for this Omen to come through the door, right? But your Yoru TP is landing here. Right, so if anyone in the stairs, and this is why I say that this is something they might want to think about, because to me this isn't like sheer luck that this KO happened to, you know, back up here. It's the literal only, you know, correct response for this KO is to do that, right? Or anyone who's playing on the stairs, the only response they're going to have is to come back down here and be right in the face of this TP and get a free kill every time, right? So this is maybe something you want to talk about, because to me this isn't like unlucky that this happened. This is just something that is going to happen anytime anyone is playing up here. And so with that in mind, then comes the question, like, what's the alternative, right? If we don't like this, if we don't think that this is good, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad idea by V1, probably most likely, you know, they just didn't in their scrims run into someone playing on the stairs before, right? When they ran this strat, which is fair enough, right? It's a tiny little detail, but, you know, in this game, it ended up, you know, kind of costing them this first kill here, where this is just a free kill. So it's something that they might want to think about. So where else would you send this Yoru Gate Crash, right? Like, where else would you want to send it? Well, for me, maybe one area that they could send it from here, and you would have to time this pretty well, right? You might have to rework the timing of this slightly, is sending it to kind of this side of yellow here. Right, you know, sending that in as the dog is coming in, right? You can then send it here. The dog hopefully is stunning anyone who's close, right? So that when you TP in, you know, hopefully you're then in a fight with whoever's stunned here. And on this side of yellow, right, with your Omen up here, as I said, if you wait for this Omen TP to come in, anyone on top of the stairs should have ran back. So you should be pretty safe to anyone who isn't like close up here to the door, which hopefully the dog is dealing with. And then from there, right, you've got this Omen flash coming across here. You can then just swing across, or even, you know, Yoru flash yourself as well, like back this way, you know, swing, maybe even wait for the Omen to open the door and swing as well, and then hopefully clear the rest of this out. So that's maybe one little thing that they could think about, you know, to try and fix this. But then from here, you know, after Flow dies, obviously, you know, the idea is insane. I love it, you know, and you see the benefits of doing this, right? That Omen TP is kind of insane. You're going to see our Cypher sneaks in here and is going to, you know, this Viper is like, what do you do, right? This is going to be a common place for people on A to play. And it's like, where do you go? Where do you look? You know, you're just stuck. And Neuer here does pretty well and is late and is patient as well, right? Because if you're this Cypher here, you have to be worried, like, you know, what if they are coming pushing this way, right? Like that is a response that maybe a team would have, you know, to a lot of pressure coming this way, is push forward. So when you're playing as this person kind of as the, you know, late backstab in a way, you want to be patient and making sure that that isn't the case and that you aren't getting multiple people running at you. So it does well there, gets this kill. We end up in a 4v2 and they're going to clean up this round, and eventually the Silver is actually just going to save. And then finally here, round number 10, which is a round that I absolutely love.
Next, maybe Soto picks one up this round. He needs to figure out what the attack is. But V1's been moving fast, so Wingman has to move quicker.
Oh man, Mel. I can tell Mel is loving the harbor so far.
It's crazy, right?
It is.
Just looks so comfortable on it. Fake out towards B. A is a thank you very much. Plant between shrimp and crab. And now they can just dump utility into that if they need to, whether it be blinds or some gates to push out, or a paranoia straight through the middle to really block it. 5v5 though. This is one of my favorite parts about Breeze. You get a lot of 5v5 retakes where everybody's available, all the util. So let's see what happens.
I'm trying to make the fix here. Get that retake in. They've taken up so much space, but now this is where the pings start to come through. Actually, alert from Mel that would have actually converted this round up to V1. That seems like they have to try to push for some sort of engagement. Shots being made. They've taken out the player, attempting the diffusable floor around the back. They have the potential. Still making a 2K from floor. That is impossible.
Okay, so why do I love this round so much? Well, of course, I'm a sucker for a good fake, and this is a good fake. And there are plenty of top tier teams who don't know how to run good fakes. This is a good fake, okay? Because first off, this cascade, right? And this might not look like much, but this is actually very important to any fake that we want to run, because obviously we don't want them seeing into here how many of us are actually there. Right, that is actually very important, because of course not everyone is there, and they might be able to figure it out if they don't see everyone there whilst we're, you know, pummeling them with util. Right, the next thing is, of course, we're going to send in the fake Yoru clone, we're going to send in the Harbor, we're going to send in this high tech, we're going to send in Yoru flash, a sky flash, the sky dog. Like, we're going to tap the orb here. Float's going to take this orb as well. Right, like, think of how much they are getting bombarded here on this site with utility. Right, it feels very real because a ton of util has just come at you. But we're about to TP across to the other side of the map, and these guys are just sneaking in towards A. And the thing is, like, really the only thing that's missing is maybe some Omen smokes and maybe an Omen flash, right? But other than that, this looks very, very real. And you feel the pressure if you are the defenders here. But as we see, obviously, as we can see the Yoru TPs across, we get onto the site. Obviously, a major benefit of Yoru is doing this kind of thing, right? Really kind of love it, right? Love the idea in general. Really cool idea. Now let's talk about the postman though, because I know a lot of you, having watched this round just, will have some questions about the postman, right? Because they planted in this kind of interesting position here, you know, not the kind of normal plant spot. And you are going to see that they definitely intended to play this postman as a spam postman from back here, right? And I know that some of you might think like, that's not a good idea, right? I don't like those kind of postmans. In this situation, it does have its benefits, and you'll see that because we're going to get a KO ult and a Yoru ult that if you're on site, you would probably easily die, and you're not going to because you're tucked away safe in main here. And of course, if you run a good fake like this, it's going to take them time, as you're seeing now, as the spike is ticking, for them to actually get here, right? And if they didn't have this Yoru ult, it's going to take them even more time. But they do have a Yoru ult, so it doesn't take them as long here as before. Maybe something for V1 to think about. We're actually going to see some really nice play from Wingman here as well, because what they're going to do, they send in this Yoru clone, you know, with the Yoru gate crash, we can see on the floor just there. And now they're going to dart, they're going to flash, and it all comes in at once, and the Yoru TP's in, as you can see here, and manages to get a kill. They also got the kill on Mel in here towards short as well. And now we just enter the spam battle, right? Now we enter the part that probably a lot of people don't like, but you can tell that this was always their plan, because this is their own harbor wall they've put across here to stop people from getting in on them, right? So it was always meant to be just this pure spam going on. And as we run it forward, you know, they're going to get the Yoru on the spike diffuser there, you know, just telling where to shoot basically. And then Flo obviously does the Flo thing where she, I mean, I don't know, blessed by the gods, manages to get 2 kills from that, wins the round over. Really cool, really nice fake postman. You know, some people will have some questions for sure. I don't mind it, to be honest. You won the round, right? It did buy you enough time. And yeah, there you go. Nice from V1, and we see the way that, you know, the Yoru is being used in some of these ways, really creative ways from teams like V1. Love some of the creativity that they do. Obviously, you know, they're gonna have to see what happens exactly with some of the things they're doing, but yeah, overall, dig it, love it. Yoru Meta.